The House of Kuru, Part 2, Chapter 22. The Wax Palace. Journey to Varanavata. Vidura was suspicious of any and every move by Shakuni. He was waiting for Shakuni to hatch his plan. He had sent Dhritarashtra to Varanavata, and using Dhritarashtra he had gathered all the intel he needed about the palace built of wax. There was indeed a large, sizable palace built with wax, stuffed with hay and flammable material in between the walls of the palace. Vidura surmised that the plan was to execute the Pandavas and make it look like an accident. It would be very convenient for the Kauravas if, in one fell swoop, the entire Pandava problem was solved, and Suryodhana would then ascend the lion throne with ease. Despite the evil, cruel nature of the Prince of Gandhara, Vidura noted the shrewdness of the plan and how difficult it would be to prove that Suryodhana or Shakuni were the masterminds behind this vile plot. The court proceedings completed early that day, or at least earlier than usual. As soon as they were complete, a tawny-skinned, cream-robed man with a large red turban on his head with a wavy grey handlebar moustache requested the emperor's presence. Dhritarashtra had been briefed that a person of this description would arrive, and hence he immediately provided the attention he needed. "Tell me, stranger, what is your name? What brings you to the noble land of Hastinapura? What can the House of Kuru do to ease your stay?" asked the emperor of Hastinapura, which immediately had Vidura's eyebrows raised. Why would the king of Hastinapura show undue assistance to a vassal minister, he thought to himself. "My name is Purochana. I am one of the ministers of the vassal state ruled by the empire of Hastinapura, known as Varanavata. Our king is performing an opening ceremony for the temple of Lord Shiva, known as the Festival of Pashupati. A great number of years have gone into its construction, and as an honor, we have built a large palace for the emperor and his wife to join us in the celebration," said the tawny-skinned, cream-robed man. "The empire of Hastinapura thanks you for the invitation, Purochana, but as I have a considerable amount of state business to attend to, I will request the Crown Prince Yudhishtira to represent the kingdom along with his brothers, if he accepts," said Dhritarashtra. And as soon as he did, Yudhishtira raised eloquently from his seat and bowed low in accord with the etiquette of the empire and said, "Emperor, it would be an honor for me to attend the opening ceremony. However, as a rule, neither I nor my brothers decide on anything without our mother's explicit agreement," said Yudhishtira, as he turned to Kunti, his mother. "Mother, what is your wish on this matter?" asked the scion of the lion throne, as Kunti gently nodded. "Yes, Yudhishtira, my wish is as the wish of the emperor," said Kunti. And then Yudhishtira turned his head back to the emperor and nodded. "My lord, my mother wishes to attend the celebration, and thus it too is our desire to do so. With your permission, bless us for the departure," said Yudhishtira, to the delight of Shakuni and Suryodhana, as Dhritarashtra nodded. Within a week, all the preparations were made for the departure of the sons of Pandu to the land of Varanavata. They had a retinue of priests who followed them for the opening ceremony, and a small band of soldiers, not that they needed it, to protect them, and a small cohort of people who wished to never leave their side. The entourage assembled themselves outside the palace as the illustrious sons of Pandu arrived from their bedchambers and approached the king of the empire to seek his blessings on the journey. Dhritarashtra blessed them wholeheartedly, and then they made their way to Gandhari, the empress, and sought her blessings. then to Bhishma, Guru Drona, and Guru Kripa. Finally, they approached Vidura. As they bowed, Vidura raised the chin of Yudhishthira and spoke in the Mlecha tongue, a tongue or a language only Vidura and Yudhishthira understood. The wise son of Parishrami, well versed in the art of subtlety and espionage, was careful to code even the message of the Mlecha tongue so that not even the Mlecha people could understand it. The Mlecha were savages on the border of the empire and had no proper civilization. Yet they did have a tongue, one which very few citizens of Hastinapura spoke, and Vidura, knowing that both Shakuni and Suyodhana were unduly suspicious of him spying on their chiefs, took no chances in case they had a Mlecha hidden amongst the crowd. Be careful, for deadly weapons are not only made of steel or metal, and only he who understands the method of warding them off will survive. One who learns to burrow like the jackal and the ferret can escape certain weapons which are not made of steel. One who knows the stars and constellations will never get lost despite wandering, and he who controls his senses will never be oppressed by his enemies, said Vidura with a wide smile and nodding at the same time to confuse everyone into thinking that he was blessing the scion of Hastinapura. Yudhishthira realized something was off, but he played along and smiled broadly and said, "I understand," back in the tongue of the Mlecha. Vidura then proceeded to bless his brothers as the party left the empire of Hastinapura and headed toward the city of Varanavata. On the 8th day of the waning moon, under the star sign of Rohini in the month of Falguna, the chariots carrying the Pandavas and their retinue departed. The chariots were embellished in the best of colors, and the 4 horses were yoked to each chariot. There were 2 chariots in total and several single-horse chariots for other members of the crown prince's retinue. All through the journey, Yudhishthira could not help pondering over and over again on Vidura's warning. Weapons other than steel, burrowing underground. This is definitely a warning, thought the firstborn son of Pandu. Why would he warn me like this? The king has sent us to Varnavata to witness an opening ceremony. So why would Uncle Vidura insist on weapons and enemies? He kept mulling to himself as the chariot rocked back and forth in the journey. The sun had set and the party had just reached halfway to Varanavata. So everyone decided to camp outside for the night and continue the journey the next day to rest the horses and reduce the risk of theft, burglary, or wild animals. Though there was hardly a threat with Bhima around them, Kunti felt she needed to sleep without being rocked back and forth in a chariot, and the horses also showed signs of fatigue. As they were eating dinner, the conversation arose to the departure of Varnavata. "The old man wanted to do away with us. That is why he's sending us to a different city," mumbled Bhima. Now, Bhima, that old man is our foster father and Emperor of Hastinapura, chastised Yudhishthira. "We must show respect. Dhritarashtra only wants what's best for the kingdom," he continued. Bhima grunted and grumbled and started munching on his food, as Kunti was not sure of Dhritarashtra's intention. "Son," she said, "while it is important for us to respect the king of the realm, we must also take due care of ourselves. Bhima is right in questioning the motive. What did your uncle Vidura mention to you in the tongue of the Mlecha?" asked Kunti. Then it hit him. Bhima's suspicion was the key to the trigger. Aha! thought Yudhishthira as he had a moment of intellect. In his naivety, he did not, for even a moment, suspect the king. But now that he put Vidura's warning in place with Bhima's grunt, everything began to make sense. Mother, Uncle Vidura gave us a warning. He warned us about a weapon not made of steel or metal, that a man who knows how to burrow will be able to thwart the weapon. He also said that the knowledge of the stars and constellations will protect the wanderer, and finally, one who controls his senses will gain sovereignty over the world, said Yudhishthira, as his brothers and mother stared at him with sheer disbelief and shock. They too had fallen prey to the naivety and fooled themselves into thinking that Dhritarashtra was sending them on a diplomatic mission. But the warning by Vidura confirmed that something foul was at play. Even Bhima, who does not stop eating for anyone, stopped for a moment and stared at his elder brother. I knew it! The old man wanted to kill us with some weapon, and our uncle understood this, using either his spies or his intellect, yelled Bhima as Kunti and Yudhishthira hushed Bhima's mouth. No one must suspect that we are onto them. They might get hasty with their plan. Clearly, a lot of thought has been put into this, for no ordinary weapon can defeat you, Bhima. We do not know who our enemies are, and now we are marching onto a foreign land, said Kunti. Children, be ever on your guard. Until we can ascertain what that weapon is, we must always stay close together. Death lurks in every corner for us. Bhima's life was already attempted upon once with the poisoned cake, and we got lucky. We cannot depend on luck alone, said Kunti, caressing Bhima's left cheek. Yudhishthira was deep in thought. What can be the weapon? What kind of weapon is ineffective underground? Do not worry, brother. I am a master of the constellation and the stars, said Sahadeva, as he placed an arm on Yudhishthira's right shoulder. I can take us anywhere in Bharatavarsha with the knowledge of the stars. So fear not. I have that catered to, said Sahadeva, as the other brothers nodded and smiled towards him. And Yudhishthira embraced his younger brother. Arjuna got up. Sahadeva is right. I am the wielder of the legendary weapon of Brahma, the Brahmashira. Bhima is the strongest person in the whole world. While it is true we must be on our guard, let us not lose sleep over this warning, said the victor of Panchala. Arjuna and the family laid down on makeshift bedding and spent the night.